This article is about Chris Kyle, the American sniper. Christopher Scott Chris Kyle, born April 8, 1974, died February 2, 2013, was a United States Navy SEAL veteran and sniper, with 160 kills officially confirmed by the Department of Defense. Kyle served 4 tours in the Iraq War and was awarded several commendations for acts of heroism and meritorious service in combat. He received 2 Silver Star Medals, 1 in secret, 5 Bronze Star Medals, 1 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, 2 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medals and numerous other unit and personal awards. Kyle was honorably discharged from the U.S. Navy in 2009 and published his best-selling autobiography, American Sniper, in 2012. An eponymous film adaptation of Kyle's book, directed by Clint Eastwood, was released 2 years later. On February 2, 2013, Kyle was murdered by Eddie Ray Ralph, at a shooting range near Chalk Mountain, Texas. A former Marine with PTSD, Ralph was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Early life. Kyle was born in Odessa, Texas, the first of 2 boys born to the B. Lynn, née Mercer, and Wayne Kenneth Kyle, a Sunday school teacher and deacon. Kyle's father bought his son his first rifle at 8 years old, a bolt-action .3006 Springfield rifle, and later a shotgun, with which they hunted deer, pheasant, and quail. Kyle and his brother grew up raising up to 150 head of cattle at a time. Kyle attended high school in Midlothian, Texas, and after graduating, became a professional bronco rodeo rider and ranch hand, but his professional rodeo career ended abruptly when he severely injured his arm. Military career. After his arm healed, Kyle went to a military recruiting office, interested in joining the U.S. Marine Corps Special Operations. A U.S. Navy recruiter convinced him to try, instead, for the SEALs. Initially, Kyle was rejected because of the pins in his arm, but he eventually received an invitation to the 24-week Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL School, BUDS, which he joined in 1999. Assigned to SEAL Team 3, Sniper Element, Platoon Charlie, later Cadillac, within the Naval Special Warfare Command, and with 4 tours of duty, Kyle served in many major battles of the Iraq War. His first long-range kill shot was taken during the initial invasion when he shot a woman approaching a group of Marines while carrying a hand grenade. CNN reported that the woman was cradling a toddler in her other hand. As ordered, Kyle opened fire, killing the woman before she could attack. He later stated, "The woman was already dead. I was just making sure she didn't take any Marines with her. It was clear that not only did she want to kill them, but she didn't care about anybody else nearby who would have been blown up by the grenade or killed in the firefight, children on the street, people in the houses, maybe her child." Because of his track record as a marksman during his deployment to Ramadi, the insurgents named Kyle Shaitan Ramadi, in English is, the Devil of Ramadi, and put a $21,000 bounty on his head that was later increased to $80,000. They posted signs highlighting the cross on his arm as a means of identifying him. In his book, American Sniper, Kyle describes his longest successful shot. In 2008, outside Sadr City, he killed an insurgent sniper aiming at other members of the U.S. military with a straight-up pluck shot from his Macmillan TAC 338 sniper rifle from about 2,100 yards, that's 1,920 meters, away. Kyle became known as the legend among the general, infantry and Marines he was tasked to protect. The nickname originated thus among Kyle's fellow SEALs following his taking of a sabbatical to train other snipers in Fallujah, and he was sometimes called the Myth. During 4 tours of duty in the Iraq War, he was shot twice and survived 6 separate eye detonations. Number of kills as a sniper. While the Navy, Pentagon, and U.S. Special Operations Commands, SOC, have not challenged the claim that Kyle was the current top sniper, his exact number of sniper kills is obscure. To be counted as confirmed, they basically had to see the person fall and be clearly dead, according to Jim DeFelice, one of the co-authors of Kyle's autobiography. Kyle's shooter's statements. Shooter's statements are filled out by every sniper after a mission, were reported to higher command, who kept them in case any kill were contested as outside their rules of engagement, ROE. However, Wayne V. Hall, a spokesman for the Army, stated, "The U.S. Army does not keep any record, official or otherwise, of the number of confirmed kills," and the U.S. Special Operations Command spokesman, Ken McGraw, says SOC treats a sniper's tally as unofficial. "If anything, we shy away from reporting numbers like that. It's so difficult to prove." The publisher HarperCollins states, "The Pentagon has officially confirmed more than 160 of Kyle's kills. The previous American record was 109, but it has declined to verify the astonishing total number for this book." In his autobiography, Kyle wrote, "The Navy credits me with more kills as a sniper than any other American service member, past or present. I guess that's true. They go back and forth on what the number is. One week, it's 160, the official number as of this writing, for what that's worth, then it's way higher, then it's somewhere in between. If you want a number, ask the Navy. You may even get the truth if you catch them on the right day." Weapons. As a sniper, Kyle was often asked about his weapons. While in training, he used 4 different rifles in order to know which weapon was the most useful in the given situation. In the field, he used the following: a semi-automatic 7.62 NATO Mk11 sniper rifle, patrol; a 5.56 NATO Mk12 designated marksman rifle modified with the lower receiver off a M4 to get a collapsible stock and allow full auto, for urban patrol; a .300 Winchester Magnum M24 sniper rifle with Macmillan stocks and customized barrels, later replaced with the .300 Winchester Magnum Accuracy International. These 2 rifles were the ones he mostly used while in Overwatch. A .338 Lapua Magnum used for long-range targets. Post-military life. Kyle left the U.S. Navy in 2009 and moved to Midlothian, Texas, with his wife, Taya, and 2 children. He was the president of Graft International, a tactical training company for the U.S. military and law enforcement communities. In 2012, HarperCollins released Kyle's autobiography, American Sniper. Kyle had initially hesitated to write the book but was persuaded to move forward because other books about SEALs were underway. In his book, Kyle wrote bluntly of his experiences. Of the battle for control of Ramadi, he says, "Force moved that battle. We killed the bad guys and brought the leaders to the peace table. That is how the world works." In the book and ensuing interviews, Kyle stated he had no regrets about his work as a sharpshooter, saying, "I had to do it to protect the Marines." American Sniper had a 37-week run on the New York Times bestseller lister and brought Kyle national attention. Following its release, media articles challenged some of Kyle's anecdotes, but the core of his narrative was widely accepted. Tales of his heroism on the battlefield were already lore in every branch of the armed forces, writes Michael J. Mooney, author of a biography of Kyle. Kyle paired with Fitco Cares Foundation, a non-profit organization which created the Heroes Project to provide free and home fitness equipment, individualized programs, personal training, and life coaching to in-need veterans with disabilities, Gold Star families, or those suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. On August 13, 2012, Kyle appeared on the reality television show Stars Earn Stripes, which features celebrities pairing up with the special operations or law enforcement professional who train them in weapons and combat tactics. Kyle was teamed with actor Dean Cain. Defamation lawsuit. In Kyle's book American Sniper, Kyle wrote a subchapter titled Punching Out Scruff Face, about an alleged altercation in a bar. In the book he claims he punched a man he refers to as Scruff who told Kyle, "You deserve to lose a few." Kyle later identified Scruff Face as Jesse Ventura in interviews he did to promote the book. According to Kyle, the encounter took place at MCP's, a bar in Coronado, California, on October 12, 2006, during a wake for Kyle's comrade, Michael A. Mansour, a U.S. Navy SEAL and Medal of Honor recipient who had been killed in Iraq. On January 4, 2012, Kayle appeared on the Opie and Anthony show to discuss his book. On the show, Kayle alleged that the character Scruff in his book is former governor of Minnesota Jesse Ventura. Following these allegations, Ventura denied the incident had happened, and filed a lawsuit in January 2012 against Kayle for charges of defamation, appropriation, and unjust enrichment. After Kayle was killed the following year, Ventura continued the lawsuit against Kyle's estate. On July 29, 2014, the jury returned a divided verdict of 8-2 that Kayle was guilty of defamation and unjust enrichment, and not guilty of appropriation. The jury concluded that the Kayle estate owed Ventura $500,000 for defamation, and $1.34 million for unjust enrichment. Kyle's widow appealed the verdict on behalf of Kyle's estate. Attorneys for Kyle's estate asked the appeals court to throw out the verdict or at least order a new trial, because a lawyer for Ventura told jurors that the $1.8 million judgment would be paid for by Kyle's book publisher's insurance policy, not his estate. In June 2016, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit threw out the $1.8 million in part due to the revelation of the insurance policy by Ventura's attorneys to the jury. The $1.35 million in unjust enrichment was overturned and dismissed as being inconsistent with Minnesota law. The $500,000 defamation suit was remanded back to trial. Death. On February 2, 2013, Kayle and his friend, Chad Littlefield, 35 of age, were shot and killed by Eddie Ray Routh at the Rough Creek Ranch Lodge Resort shooting range in Iraq County, Texas. Both Kayle and Littlefield were armed with .45 caliber 1911 style pistols when they were killed, but neither gun had been unholstered or fired, and the safety catches were still on. Kayle was killed with the .45 caliber pistol, while Littlefield was shot with a 9mm Sig Sauer handgun. Both guns belonged to Kayle. Routh was a 25-year-old U.S. Marine Corps veteran from Lancaster, Texas. Kayle and Littlefield had reportedly taken Routh to the gun range in an effort to help him with his post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Routh had been in and out of mental hospitals for at least 2 years, and had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. His family also said he suffered from PTSD from his time in the military. On the way to the shooting range, Kayle texted Littlefield, "This dude is straight up nuts." Littlefield responded, "Watch my six," military slang meaning watch my back. 4 months later, while he was in his jail cell, Routh shared with former Iraq County Sheriff's Deputy Gene Cole, "I was just riding in the back seat of the truck, and nobody would talk to me. They were just taking me to the range, so I shot them. I feel bad about it, but they wouldn't talk to me. I'm sure they've forgiven me." After the killings, Routh went to his sister's house in Midlothian and told her what he had done. His sister, Laura Blevins, called 911 and told the emergency operator, "They went out to a shooting range, like, he's all crazy. He's psychotic." Local police captured Routh after a short freeway chase, which ended when Routh, who fled the scene in Kyle's Ford F-350 truck, crashed into a police cruiser in Lancaster. A memorial service was held for Kayle at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas, on February 11, 2013. He was buried on February 12, 2013, at the Texas State Cemetery in Austin, after the funeral cortege journeyed from Midlothian to Austin, more than 200 miles, 320 kilometers. Hundreds of people lined Interstate 35 to view the procession and pay their final respects to Kayle. Routh was arraigned February 2, 2013, on 2 counts of capital murder, and was taken to the Iraq County Jail for holding under a $3 million bond. His trial was set to begin May 5, 2014 but was delayed to allow more time to comply with DNA testing requirements. The trial began on February 11, 2015. On February 24, 2015, Routh was found guilty of killing Kayle and Littlefield. The jury returned the verdict after less than 3 hours of deliberations. Since prosecutors decided beforehand to not seek the death penalty, the trial judge, Jason Cashin, immediately sentenced Routh to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Routh is imprisoned at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Powledge Unit near Palestine, Texas. Legacy. In August 2013, Texas Governor Rick Perry signed Senate Bill 162, also known as the Chris Kyle Bill, to recognize military training in the issuance of occupational licenses. The bill had been co-sponsored by Republican Representative Dan Flint of Venn and Democratic Senator Letitia Vanderpot of San Antonio. The ceremony was attended by Kyle's widow, Taya. Sculptor Greg Mara created a memorial statue of Kyle for presentation to his widow. Fundraising for production of the statue was provided by members of the Tea Party movement. Clint Eastwood's film American Sniper, 2014, is based on Kyle's autobiography. Kyle is portrayed by Bradley Cooper, and his wife Taya Kyle is portrayed by Sienna Miller. For his portrayal of Kyle, Cooper received an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, and the film was nominated in 5 other categories, including Best Picture. The film won the Academy Award for Best Sound Editing. On February 2, 2015, exactly 2 years after Kyle's murder, Texas Governor Greg Abbott declared the day Chris Kyle Day. Legal issues between Kraft International and Kyle's estate. On May 30, 2014, Kraft International, LLC, which company Chris Kyle co-founded and owned an 85% share of, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, in Dallas, Texas. Their earlier Chapter 11 case, filed on February 24 that year, was dismissed on May 30 because of a paperwork mix-up. In July 2014, Kraft International, LLC threatened to sue Taya Kyle unless she forked over some of the royalties made from American Sniper. The company said Kyle had written his books and done his book tours on company time. Moreover, Stephen Young, Kraft International's chief executive, questioned the widow's right to her husband's stake in the firm. He alleged Kyle had intentionally limited the power of spouses, citing his belief that divorce, from Taya, was a very real possibility. In response, Mrs. Kyle countersued Kraft on the grounds that it was wrongfully using her husband's name and likeness to sell its goods, and that she and her children have the right to control the use of Chris Kyle's name, likeness and image, after his death. Additionally, Mrs. Kyle's lawyers accused Young of mishandling Kraft International's money. In February 2015, Kraft International, LLC requested clearance to implement a settlement with Kyle's widow, as well as the dismissal of its bankruptcy case. The proposed deal would resolve any pending disputes between the parties and includes an agreement to request case dismissal, for which Kraft filed a motion on January 15, 2015.